Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. Yes, my name is Scott Cumming. I am the founder and president of Dyslexic Together. So we do have a list that's strictly just a guide, but I'll paint a picture of why I started Dyslexic Together. Okay, so why did I start Dyslexic Together? I needed to start from the beginning as a child to explain why I started Dyslexic Together. When I was just a young child, my parents couldn't understand why I couldn't read or write or spell. They were very confused at that point. When I started the second grade, I remember the teacher standing up in front of the classroom and saying, "Everybody open up your books. We're going to read a paragraph." So they would go around the room, come to me, and I'd start to read, and I'd read the first line and the second line, and I'd stumble over it. Next thing I know, the teacher would say to the student next to me, "Why don't you finish Scott's paragraph and then finish the rest of the page?" Fifth grade. I'm sitting in a classroom and the teacher starts moving me around the class, to the back of the class, to the front of the class, left to right. Next thing I know, he calls a parent-teachers meeting and he describes to my parents that I couldn't see the board or my paperwork. So at that point, I go to the eye doctor and they find out that I needed glasses. So at this point, I've not only lost, I've lost from K to fifth grade because one, I couldn't read, write, and spell, and two, I couldn't see. So this is so critical for parents to get their child's vision checked early on. Now, I did not know I was dyslexic. Again, all I knew is that I couldn't read, write, and spell. Next, the sixth grade. I'm at the eye doctor and he starts to do tests on my eyes and he's watching me read. And what was happening was I would read a line, then I would go back over that line again, reread it. I wasn't jumping down. So he made the assumption that my eyes were weak. So he put me on another machine and it strengthened my eyes. But that wasn't really the problem. So then I hit seventh grade. Seventh grade changed. Everything changed at that grade. And the reason why was because they had what they called electives, where it wasn't just academics. You could test out like wood shop, culinary, sewing, and graphics. In the back of the graphics classroom, there was a machine, and this machine was a printing press. So I asked the teacher, "How do you run that?" And they showed me where to put the ink, the paper, and how the paper came out as a duplicate. Well, at that point, I realized that I could work with my hands. So I no longer had to worry just about academics and how I wasn't good at it, but now I found something that I was good at. When I went to high school, there was also many trades to try out. It was a technical trade school. But there was one teacher there that noticed that I had a knack for machinery, and she was a special ed teacher. She's actually the head of special ed. So I ended up in the printing class and auto body class, because she also realized that my academic skills were not good. And so I needed to at least do something, and that was to concentrate instead of on so many different classrooms, just the printing and the auto body. Okay, now we'll skip to parenting. So I have 2 kids. K through 6, I had no problem with the work that was coming home from school. We were going on field trips and kids were doing sports and everything was going great. Then my daughter entered 7th grade. Well, at the 7th grade level, she came home with homework that was for both her and myself. Well, I took one look at the homework and realized at that point that I could not do the homework. I couldn't help her. So I ended up calling the school, making arrangements for after school help with all of her classes. I had to tell the school that I couldn't help her with the reading and the writing and the spelling. Again, at this time, I did not know I was dyslexic. I just knew that I couldn't read or write. So at that point, I decided I was going to try to take a college course at the local college for just writing. Because as a parent, you want to do whatever it takes to help your children. So what I did was I signed up, I went to the college, I went right to special ed. I was in special ed my whole life. When I went to the special ed department, they asked me what grade level I was at. So I said, I have no idea. They said, okay, we're going to send you to a specialist. And the specialist will figure out what grade level you're at. So he gave me tests on academics, math, general questions. And in a week, he sent me the results. The results came in at the 6th grade level. So at this point, I realized that my daughter had exceeded my grade level.